And you mentioned how technology was co-opted into this whole thing. Do you have any more deeper thoughts on that? Because, Ed, when we started getting taken off the air in April, May of 2020, I struggled to find a direct connection between the Googles of the world and ultimately pharma and some of these other things. And everyone always said, well, Google has ownerships of this and that. But for me, it never seemed obvious. I'm just curious, where do you go on that?
Well, there's two things. So what people don't know, but is fact certain in my mind, is that when these companies were launched and started to grow, they got big government contracts from the CIA and NSA, primarily for overseas purposes. And these contracts, you can't, when you get a contract like this, it's secret. You're the CEO and CFO, and you have to sign national security documents. And if you divulge any of this information, you can go to jail. So the intelligence agencies kind of started to own these CEOs. And so and at first it seemed great because, we were able to use these social media companies to do things overseas. The Arab Spring, a lot of that was managed via social media and intelligence agencies manipulating social media. Then I think that's been turned inwards into the US, into the domestic arena. And I think also when COVID hit, the technology companies said, well, it is what it is. This has happened. But how do we make money off this? Well, there's going to be all these cash flow streams from surveillance apps and technologies to make sure everyone's vaccinated. Digital IDs are coming. So they saw cash flow streams. And when the government asked them to censor, they said, sure. I mean, that's kind of how, they just kind of said, okay. So they were co-opted. And now they have blood on their hands. So I think it was the intelligence agencies have already been embedded in these social media companies. I think the incentives for cash flow streams and the momentum going one way, and they said sure. They threw ethics out the window and said, yeah, we'll do whatever you want.
And on that note, what did you make of the Twitter files? And do you ever wonder what the YouTube files look like? I sure want to see mine.
I'm sure you're front and center on a list somewhere. The Twitter files just proved to me what you and I already knew this intuitively. We didn't need the Twitter files but it's nice to be, recognized as correct. And what it's unveiled or revealed is, as Bobby calls it, an industrial censorship complex. There's actually an industry that's grown up around this, where there's companies that engage in this, that make money doing this. It's kind of a system that we weren't aware of, and that's why it seems so coordinated. Because the government, I think the government alone couldn't have done this because it's the government, but there were a lot of private firms and subcontractors that did all the bidding.
Yeah, we're about to drop a documentary film about what happened to us in basically April and May of 20 and the whole story of the censorship. But there's one point in the film where, PayPal's suspending me, Dropbox is suspending me, YouTube's is suspending me, LinkedIn is suspending me, and I'm just like, how can all this happen at once? And I don't entertain conspiracy theories at the time. Well, of course, they've all come true. But I literally didn't know why or how. And then when I looked at the Twitter files, I was like, well, here we have government agencies that are multiple government agencies actually fighting over each other to get Twitter to censor people. And so if they're doing it there, why wouldn't they be doing it at all of these other big platforms? And so for the first time, I thought, oh, that's probably what was going on. But before that, I had never actually convinced myself that there was maybe a coordinated effort.
It's looking more and more like it was, and that there's actual firms that do this for a living. I mean, that to me is pretty striking.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. The WHO came out recently, and I talked to Dr. Malone about this last week, about how they're pushing through a plan to kind of take over the sovereignty of nations on the next pandemic, and trying to already set up a plan to where they can kind of supersede governments. And I know people are trying to push back. Just curious if you had any thoughts on that whole thing happening?
First of all, the WHO failed in this pandemic. And the mere fact that they have the arrogance to ask for all this power it boggles my mind. And what boggles my mind even further is that governments are entertaining pushing this through. So clearly there's money involved. Clearly there's something going on that we're not aware of, because it seems on its face absurd and insane. So we have to fight this tooth and nail. I think, let's say that they do get all the power they want, and then the next quote unquote pandemic comes, which they've already said is going to be worse. How they know that, I don't know, but they're already pre-marketing the event. I think the pushback will be immense this time. I don't think people are going to fall for it again. And if a lot of people still do, I think we'll have more on our side this time, because I know you and I and others felt very alone in the beginning of this, but I think next time we'll have more people standing beside us. So I think even if they get through all this nonsense, we're still going to win in the end if they try to pull that. I don't think people are going to fall for it again, personally.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely kind of anti-fragile in that sense, because we've now built up almost like these kind of information supply lines, and we've been battle hardened through this. And it's much easier to fight back against something in the future. So yeah, I agree with you on that standpoint, but it just flabbergasts me that they're already trying to set that up and to try to take power away from some of those sovereigns. So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline. I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you gonna do? What's the choice that you're going to make?